All right, hello everyone. We're back,
Yo,
and today we're going to review Evil Dead Burn.
burn.
So, this movie was directed by a gentleman. The gentleman's name is director Sebastian Van Eyck. He's a French director. He's not really known for anything, honestly. I'm surprised because he kind of has certain styles that I've seen before, but also he's actually I'm surprised because he seems like he's made a lot of films before, but he's relatively new, I guess, or he doesn't have any experience. We have the main cast: Lucane Buchanan, Hunter Duhan, Sohelia Yacoub, and Tandy Wright. I've never heard of them. Do you recognize any actors in the film?
Yeah, mainly the two main characters. The one that played Joseph and the one that played Alice. Joseph is most known for his role in the Wednesday TV series. He plays a quote unquote love interest for Wednesday. He plays I can't remember what they call it, but he's like a Jekyll and Hyde kind of character. Um, And the actress that plays Alice, I'm not even going to attempt her French name, but she plays a small role in Dune Part Two as one of the Fremen. The rest of the cast, honestly, I don't. I recognize a few of the elder faces, mainly the father and the grandmother, but I couldn't tell you what exactly I've seen them from. So generally, all faces in this film, for a small cast, they're all pretty much new to the table. Yeah, but
I was a fan of the Edgar, the father. He actually he was freaky even
He was
before.
intense.
He's very intense, and I liked his acting.
You're gonna say that like he was like scary even before he became a Deadite or something like that.
Yeah, but I guess we're not doing spoilers at the moment, eh? So I shouldn't say anything.
Oh well, it's an Evil Dead film. I'm pretty sure most people know that like literally 90% of this cast are gonna get killed at some point. But yeah, all right, sorry.
Thea, I think her name is in the film, which is the actress name is Lucane Buchanan. She looks like Zendaya mixed with that singer that was really popular in the 2000s. What's her name? Oof.
I mean, there's a whole bunch of them to go from, but I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, she's known for her ass shaking abilities and stuff back in the 2000s. She made films as well. Like she made one. She was the wedding planner.
Oh, Jennifer Lopez.
Jennifer Lopez. In between Jennifer Lopez and Zendaya, she's like.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, she was awesome too. I mean, like everyone in this film was pretty awesome in their roles. But naturally, you have to give credit to the ones that have to go to that absolute extreme, which is expected in an Evil Dead film. So yeah, absolutely.
I'll start off and I'll say that I liked the film. It was better than I expected. It was better than the 2018 film. That was the last one I saw. I liked it better than that one. Some of the editing choices were good and bad. It was very ADHD sort of editing, but it was also creative. But I've seen it before. Some of the editing choices where, there was that one transition where where Will was writing.
Oh yes,
there was one transition that was freaking hilarious, and like I died laughing. It was just so random. I think he would make a really good comedy film. He has very good comedy, kind of like accidental comedy type stuff. Even some of the scenes, some of the scary scenes that kind of turned funny, but in an accidental way. I'll explain it in the spoilers. But I thought he was quite creative. He's very he edits more for the. I feel like his edits are more for like the Gen Z crowd. He's very fast paced. A lot of cut. A lot of weird transitions. I'll say that the film was entertaining. It was like kind of, yeah, every scene was entertaining. There was always something to see, something to see. So it was like quite fast paced every scene. Yeah, what did you reckon, Mitch?
Um, I it you know the film was on par for me. I didn't hate it, didn't love it. I think my prime issue I have with it, and I don't know if it falls on myself or on advertising, but for some reason, even going into the trailer releases of this, I was always under the impression that this movie was going to be out in the open. You know, that
Mm,
the Deadites or the Necromance book and all that was going to get unleashed and plague a city population or something. And so I walked into the film expecting that, and for the first couple minutes of the film, it kind of hints to that.
oh, very hinty.
But
It's like barely.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And then within 20 minutes of the film, it returns to the old formula that we have seen before, not just in an Evil Dead film, but in a lot of horror films, which is, don't think this is a spoiler because it apparently is in the trailer. Like the mainstay of the film takes place in a house again. It's the
Yeah.
family house in an isolated area somewhere in America, and when I saw that coming, I was like, oh, okay, really, we're doing this again. So that said, what we got in terms of the hell that unleashes and all that was quite awesome. If you're going into an Evil Dead film expecting blood and gore and whatnot, like you're not going to be disappointed in this film. There's plenty of that. I don't know. I just felt like because of the prequel, the predecessor to this, being set up in an apartment building as it was, I felt like the directors were trying to change the formula beat by beat. So from that, I felt like the segue would have been, let's get this thing in a public area. Let's get this thing, wreaking havoc in the city, on the world or something. Um, so that was my presumption going into it, and because it wasn't, I was reminded of that.
Yeah, the
And
budget, it was too
I
much of a
love,
budget for him to do that, eh?
I suppose. I mean, like we had that. Oh, we'll talk about that in the spoilers. Um, yeah, I was just in my back of my mind going, we've seen this kind of all before. We've seen it all before. It's on a fresh take. The director there's some really cool shots in this film. I'll give him that. And he showcases the Deadites being very physical, very physically capable, for lack of a better word. Whereas prior in other films, I felt like they were more supernatural in their kind of ways. So, and also too, there's moments where it's like, what are the limitations? These Deadites, like they showcase something supernatural, but then they'll go on about their days just being brutes, throwing their victims against walls or through windows and all that stuff.
Yeah,
So
their power level and abilities seem to change depending on
it,
where it is in the
the
movie.
character goes on who's like a plot armor, plot armor,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, because there's one sequence when someone basically explodes within and like getting touched by one of these things, but then we get another character that like these Deadites procrastinate on. It's just like, yeah, that's just a cliched plot armor for the main character. Somehow they'll survive every situation because the villain will hesitate for whatever reason. Um, Expected, I guess, but yeah, I mean, I think taking that all aside, I think the only thing I will find out as a big negative was kind of the narrative.
Yeah.
There's not really much of a plot in this film once hell unleashes. Like, we'll talk about the plot lines and all that stuff in the subtitles, but there's a lack of, and because there's a lack of a plot, there's also a lack of a bit of character development with anyone. So, when people start getting killed one by one, I just don't care for any of them. It's just like, cool. I want to see the death. I want to see the death. I want to see the death. And maybe that's what they were going for. Maybe they knew their audience wouldn't give a shit, and this is the result of it. So, kudos to the director of just presuming he knows what the audience wants. Um, that all said, it was fun. It
Mm-hmm.
was predictable. It was kind of seen before, but it was also still fun if you're into quote unquote gore porn, which is what you expect from a Evil Dead film. So yeah, that's a big tick in the greens if that's what you're looking for.
And I'll say I agree. The like, it was very well shot. There was some really cool scenes and some cool imagery in the film. There was a lot of prosthetics used as well, and that's kind of the thing with the original. Right, the original Evil Dead was the prosthetics, and they used a lot here, and it was very gory and they really wasn't. They weren't scared to show a close-ups of very gory parts. That was cool. It was very like kind of a slasher type film more than a horror film. So that was great, but the plot of the movie was, we kind of got the plot early in the film, and we knew, oh, okay, this is what they're trying, this is what it's about. Then it's kind of like, ugh. But then we're just waiting for the deaths and everything like that. So it's hard to really, if this movie had a good plot, then it would be, I think it would be a great film. But the plot was kind of whatever.
Just something more cathartic, because I do introduce a few things that are plot elemental, and I was intrigued about it, but they just take it nowhere. It's like they introduce this, and then this thing doesn't really get used or implemented or called back on throughout the rest of the film. It's like, can you imagine the introduction to Lord of the Rings, where they're talking about this one ring to rule them all, and then for the rest of the trilogy, the ring just stays in Bilbo's house and it's just never mentioned again. It's kind of what this felt like on a much smaller scale. Of course. It's just like, okay, you introduced a MacGuffin. When is this MacGuffins, plurals, when are these MacGuffins going to come back into effect? And it doesn't ever really do it. It kind of falters on that. It's a gun without ammo, for lack of a terrible metaphor.
Yeah, I don't know if there was a narrative or what, but there was another negative thing was it seemed like the relationships with each other seemed to be an important part of the film, but I didn't give a shit about their relationships. There kept being like certain callbacks, flashbacks that we're supposed to care, but we just don't, because we don't care about the characters. They're kind of like pawns. So why do they rely so much on flashbacks and certain like very sympathetic scenes and like scenes you're supposed to like be emotional, but we don't give a crap about them, so it's kind of pointless.
Because it was quite clear the theme that they were trying to go for this was like domestic violence, right? The what became the main character, Alice, she's obviously got some kind of trauma in her past, and I agree. They had that again, another kind of elemental theme that they've introduced, but it falls flat. Kind of goes nowhere, and I think the reason for that is you don't really need that kind of theme in an Evil Dead film.
Yeah,
it would have been more wholesome. We'll talk more about that in the spoilers. Actually, we'll cut that out. That's great. It would have been just more wholesome if some of these characters were more friendly to each other. That's what I'll say. And don't need any plot devices, but if they are more friendly to each other, I probably would have appreciated them a bit more before some of them got killed. Maybe instead of what we got, which was this kind of under the table animosity for each other. And so it does suffer from my interest of appeal with any of these casts. I was just looking forward to seeing basically them all get killed.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's we'll get to the spoiler section, but first, let's just give it a quick little rating. I will go with a 6 out of 10. I enjoyed myself, but there's really lacking on the plot. The plot was, whenever there's a bad plot in a film, it's hard to give it a high rating. But if you don't care about the plot and you want to see deaths and stuff, I can see you really liking this film. It was quite uniquely done, some cool visuals, and 6 out of 10.
I'll give it a 6.5. A 0.5, mainly because there was some creative camera choices in this that I really enjoyed. And I would have respected a bit more if the creativity with its direction in terms of cinematography was also balanced out with a better narrative. So 6.5.
Okay, I seem to have liked the movie more than you, but you gave it a higher rating. maybe our ratings are kind of skewed.
Yes, we have this kind of debate with every time we rate things.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, you can go watch this film. You won't. I don't think you'll be disappointed. If you know what Evil Dead films are supposed to be, and we'll see you on the next episode. And we shall start the spoiler section now. Get out of here. First of all, we shall talk about the dog. I remember the dog died, and you were like, "God damn it!" I wonder if they kind of did that on purpose to piss people off.
Well, that and so you just hate the father because he's not meant to be liked. Even though I was really enjoying his intensity, this very brooding man who's like suggestively, an abusive father, probably to his kids more than his wife. But yeah, I enjoyed his intensity, and I kind of wish they flipped his role a bit, in front of everybody. He's like, but then, he takes a trip into the shack or something, and finally shows his emotional. So he kind of does that when he's, talking to his son's coffin and all that. But yeah, in the behind the scenes, we know that this whole family's kind of screwy because they're all supporting a son that was domestically abusive and all this shit. And because that underlying theme is in there, I just don't care.
Yeah, I kind of wish the father. I wish the father didn't turn until towards the end. I think he could have been a cool character to continue on, and he was probably my favorite character. I wish they kind of held him back towards the end because he was kind of a mean mugger anyway. The difference between him without turning and him turning into a zombie, it's like there wasn't that much difference. So if they kept him towards the end, that would have been kind of cool.
The fact that he's a deadite, it's like ironically not as scary as him being a human being, but still this mean-spirited person. So, and that's what I was trying to get in the non-spoiler area. A lot of these characters have very dislikable qualities. I just don't get what kind of direction they were setting that in. I know it was because we're meant to feel mostly sympathetic towards Alice and her trauma because, she's burying a ex-boyfriend who, at this point in the film, she's secretly not admitting to the fact that he was abusive to her and all that stuff. And it's just like, why do you have to make 80% of your cast all pieces of shit in a film where they're eventually going to get killed? Wouldn't you want the reverse effect of some sort? It's just, we're rooting for the deadites more than the humans.
I know people these days are pieces of shit, I guess.
Yeah.
Honestly, I was I was rooting for her in the argument in the club. I swear she was the biggest dick. She was trying to hook up with that guy, offering a hand job and shit. I don't know, we didn't get to see before that, but she was being a dickhead.
Well, I think it's meant to be his point of view, right? I've forgotten his name. The guy that
Will,
the abusive boyfriend was Will. I think it's meant to be his kind of point of view of being this very controlling and resentful and probably even jealous brother. And he's obviously drunk too. But yeah, I do agree. I couldn't really, at that point, differentiate who was in the wrong. The second he obviously put his hands on her and all this stuff, it was suggesting he's willing to go the next level. So by the end of that little scuffle, he's obviously in the wrong. But yeah, she was given as much sass as he was given attitude in that nightclub and all that. And that was pretty much the only scene in the entire film where we get any kind of sort of character development.
Yeah.
Not just with him, but with his younger brother, Joseph. And we're supposed to like Joe, but there's a certain point in the film where he becomes an absolute pussy. And it's like, all right, you're dead. I don't care anymore. Bye-bye. And so what we're left with is one character, maybe two, the grandmother, but I don't think she really counts because, she's a grandmother in a wheelchair. You're always going to feel sympathetic for her. There's only really one character we're supposed to care for, which is Alice. And yeah, the rest are just there to be cannon fodder. And I'm all for it. I'm all supporting for it because they're just not a likable family.
Yeah. And the relationship between Alice and Will was just ugh. It was so short-lived. No, it was short-lived, but also we're supposed to know.
Corrosive.
We're supposed to give a shit about them later in a film with all these flashbacks and that, and I couldn't care less.
Well, I don't think it was about giving a shit about them. It was about giving a shit about her because of all the shit she had to deal with him. You know, getting burnt and all that stuff. Like, I don't think at any point we're supposed to feel bad for Will.
Yeah, nah.
Even when the father's weeping for him, it's like you're weeping for a son that's like following your footsteps of being a very, very, you know, dislikable person. um,
Yeah. The grandma, I liked the mum was kind of cool. I liked how she was kind of how they wrote her in terms of she's so desperate and yeah, all she's got is her family. So she kind of
yeah, it's like,
turns towards the dark
you know,
side without really turning.
but at the same time, it's like she turns to hold on to a family that she knows is kind of shitty. Like the only one that had a redeeming chance was probably Joseph, but they gave him the Upperman treatment from Saving Private Ryan, where he had a chance to save his girlfriend, but he literally ran away. Like,
Yeah,
how are we supposed to like him after that?
yeah, I know. And then well, he kind of made up for it later with the chair and all that, right?
Yeah, he tried, but like he's already showed his cowardice, and he's not even the main character. So if his character arc was to finally stand up to his family, like cool, I'm all for that. But that wasn't the metaphor for the film, because our point of view is always from Alice. So for him, he's just nah, fuck yeah. You know, you've already shown your quality. I don't give a shit anymore. Um, Uh, and let's talk more about the plot line of this film
Oh
because,
yeah,
like I said,
that was probably the worst.
there's not really much to it. So fast forwarding, they have their funeral service, and I mean, the first wink is no one else showed up to his funeral except his close family and his girlfriend, who's now widowed. It's
Yeah,
like testimony to how much like people gave a shit about this character. So the family returned to like their old family house, just like dilapidated in the middle of nowhere. And like I said, at that point, the film's like, oh, dude, they're doing this again. Like they've isolated house where there's no one that can help them, no cell phone. Okay, here we go again. Anyway, that aside, we learn that Joe's grandfather was someone who was quite aware of the Necronomicon and had done research on it and understood its works and was part of a what they call themselves, some kind of Illuminati group that was aware of this evil entity and were trying to either control it or like erase it from existence. And he's writing a book about it, a plotline which goes absolutely nowhere.
yeah, true. Eh?
Because at the beginning of the film, his birthday gift from his brother, who does seem to love Joe a bit, was a really expensive pen. And it was like a metaphorical incentive for him to finish one of his books finally. And they put so much emphasis on his pen. You know, I was waiting for it to have some more deeper meaning, but it doesn't. Like, at one point, he uses it to defend himself against his deadite father. He jabs him in the eye, but it does next to nothing. And in the end, Joseph gets killed for it anyways. Like, it was absolutely pointless by the end of it. Because they talk about this dagger, that there's this magical dagger that the grandfather had, but it's been misplaced, that is a weapon against the deadites. And so Alice discovers this, is trying to find it in the attic and all that stuff. And I'm thinking the whole time, wait a minute, what if this dagger was actually the pen? What if, like, I don't know, the metal shear of something they turn into the pen for some stupid reason? I don't know. I was waiting for that to become some kind of significant thing, but it sounds stupid, but at the same time plausible given how much emphasis they put on this pen. But that didn't end up being the case. It ended up being this little shiv, like it was makeshifted in prison, and it was used, I think, once against Deadite Joseph, but I'm guessing it just stabs the evil out of them immediately.
Yeah, they just disappear, kind of like Blade style.
Yeah, because, like, you know, the possession had already done its job, and Joseph's body was already, like, fucked. So, like, it kills the Deadite, but, you know, he was dead anyway, so, like, the weapon seems like literally a double-edged sword, pun intended. So, like, I find the MacGuffin of the film by the end of the result. It didn't really change anything of the outcome of the film because shortly after that, it just doesn't mean anything. The Deadites want it because they're aware of its existence and they're aware of obviously it's a weapon for them. But I don't really see how dramatic of a thing this is to fear because
It's
okay, it
stuck in
kills the
an
Deadite.
attic. Yeah.
It kills the Deadite, but it kills the host as well. So it's like the Deadite wins both ways. Like, yeah, it seemed like a pretty weak plot line to be focused around.
And a weak
And
plot line and a bad MacGuffin.
bad MacGuffin with no outcome at all because it just ends up turning into irrelevance. It just might as well have been the chainsaw. It might as well have been one of the many weapons she ends up using on this family at any given time that all seem to be effective, so much as the knife is. So yeah,
Well, there
I
was
don't
that
know.
scene where
I thought,
she had the dagger. Or maybe I'm miss saying it. She had the dagger, but she decided to use the chainsaw instead in that last scene where she's like, ah.
she got tossed around and dropped it at one
Oh,
point.
okay. It was during the drop
Yeah.
time. But how does she pick it back
Uh,
up
she,
again? Did it melt under the bloody oil?
no. Again, that was another thing I thought. That was the father's knife. Remember his little Swiss blade?
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
So she tricked Will Deadite. We'll talk about him straight after this. She tricked him into thinking that was the dagger. So while he was distracted trying to find it in that, I think it was like oil mold or something,
Yeah.
she climbed out of the pit and got it. Didn't matter in the end. She ended up like jackhammering him somehow. Like a lot of unplausible shit in this, but her being able to lift a jackhammer and not only drill this deadite, it was like on an angle like that.
Yeah.
Like,
Horizontal.
have you ever held a jackhammer? They weigh a fucking ton, and the whole point of them is your own body weight going down on them. So to be able to do that is like a miracle and a half. She must like, I don't know, she must be able to weigh like pick up 400 pounds or something. So cool. She's a lot stronger than she appears to be.
She was a deadite the whole time, Mitch. You didn't, and then she picked up
True.
that strength.
Yeah, true. I mean, that could have been the final shot of the film, actually. I thought maybe she was turned into a deadite at one point there, because it zoomed in close on her eyes. And it looked like her eyes were turning into that hazel brown pupil that the deadites have. But I just want to quickly, before we forget again, talk about Will Deadite. He's meant to be the main evil of the film. He's not in it at all for like maybe 10 minutes. And so we get a first glimpse of him kill the mortuarian, the kid with the headphones on that's like, not doing his job properly. It's off camera, but we get a strong idea that the second Will Deadite had his hands on the mortuarian, that this guy he was ripped to shreds within seconds. Blood splatters everywhere. The father's just like in all of it. So that's how powerful this Deadite is. But then, of course, when it comes to the main character, this Deadite's just like throwing her around, just playing with her like a puppet, not doing really any damage to her at all. It's just like, of course, it's...
Yeah, or they're trying to climb a ladder. They're climbing a ladder as slow as an old person, where they should be able to jump 3 floors based on their power level.
Yeah. And I get that the thing was trying to like find the dagger, but I'm pretty sure if he just killed her, he would have found it somewhere there because it was within the vicinity of where they were. So you've taken out the threat that could use the dagger against you, and you've got all the time in the world now to find this little dagger that's within the vicinity.
Honestly, just burn down the whole house. So they can just make fire. So you can just like burn down the whole house, and then all the metal pieces, it's one of the metal pieces there. Or if it's not, then it's burnt with it. So now there's no more weapon.
I don't even see this thing as a threat. If they told us that this dagger had the ability to maybe, I don't know, stab the Necronomicon book and destroy all the evil, cool. Then that's a real threat to the Deadites. That's like literally dropping the One Ring into Mount Doom. That's like, okay, we need to stop that from happening. But it's just a little shiv. Okay, that maybe can take out the dead out, but it's like one Deadite at a time. If these things had an army, like it's not going to do much damage. It was a very, very lazy plot MacGuffin, man. And I didn't see the need for it to be in the film at all. Like, just have the Deadites wreaking havoc on his family that was attached to this Illuminati group in the past, and so they're just being spiteful and hateful. And out of it comes this hero, Alice, that manages to win the day. That's fine. I would have been happy with that. It's an Evil Dead film. There's blood and guts. She wins. Cool. But yeah, because they sprinkled all this weird origin lore story in it with no proper payoff, it's like it almost feels like they're setting up to be a spin-off for something else that's going to focus in on the Illuminati. And I would not be surprised if that gets announced within the next couple of months. And it's just like, I hate when films do that. It's not like they make a film not for that film. They're making a film to segue to what the actual project is going to be.
Mm.
And I hope that's not the case here. Because I know this was meant to be a trilogy. I know there's going to be a third one. And now I'm thinking I wouldn't be surprised if the third one segues to about this Illuminati group. I can't remember what they're called. There's a specific name for them. Like they're
Book of Reunion.
Circle or something. I can't remember. But they're like this kind of undercult that is aware of the Necronomicon and all that. And they're doing their ability to try and prevent it from unleashing the world. I would not be surprised if the third installment goes and focuses on that. Probably in the past, because by the seams of it, they're all dead.
The Circle of the Wise Men.
Circle of the Wise Men, thank you. Should have known that. Yeah, I'm rambling on here. The last thing I will say before I turn it over to you is there is no Bruce Campbell cameo except a photo on the wall of the house.
Yeah, you pointed that out. Oh, there's that bloke.
It was on the stairs. It was on the staircase, and it's just a profile photo, clearly from like his filmography, just like smiling. That was pretty funny. That's my rant.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a few little annoying things I can talk about. The fact that in the start of the movie, they can create acid out of nothing. They can make flying fish lures fly 100,000 miles from magic, seemingly.
Yeah.
And then the grandma has to like slowly chop off her leg that's attached to it was a funny scene when the lift was going down.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. You just reminded me. I don't think anyone killed the grandma. I don't remember her getting finished off.
Didn't the house burn in the end? She was in the house.
I guess, but they specifically showed that she had escaped from the wheelchair, that she literally severed through her leg and disappeared. And I'm trying to remember when Alice finished her, because at that point she was the last one.
Yeah, no, it went straight from Thingo, what's his name? The brother.
The father. Oh, the brother, yeah. Because at that point she got into the bathroom and climbed over the roof.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't remember what happened. She's left for the next film. She'll be coming out of the rubble in the next film. That's what's going to happen.
Are you reading that?
No, I'm just guessing.
Oh right, yeah. Well, I mean, I just okay. Maybe she did burn the house. I don't know.
Yeah, well, it's not clear. That's another. I mean, there's a few unclear. Stupid things. Yeah, she cut her leg off, and when she could have just like cut the thing, or even like taken her leg off easily because they're superpower. They got superpowers.
That plot convenience, man.
Yeah, even like the father running up the stairs to chase him. I'm pretty sure you could just like jump a floor if you wanted to and catch him in half a second.
We saw the two of them climbing on the roof, which was probably the only scene in the film that relied on CG. You know, they're crawling like freaking crabs really fast on the roof to chase after Alice. But on the stairs, it felt like it took them like 30 seconds to get up there. And it's only just like that one set of stairs when she was reloading something, I think. Like she was trying to get that hedge trimmer to get going, yeah. Just silly plot MacGuffins like that, yeah. Let's talk about some positives.
One more negative. I don't know why Will like was moving in slow motion. Like he wanted the dagger, right? And she had the dagger. Why was he like all this epic music? He's walking like
slowly walking,
like Goku walking after leaving the hyperbolic time chamber. And
He just got to Super Saiyan 3.
and he ended up just dying because he's just so slow and he's like trying to look so epic.
Yeah.
And then he dies. Of course, another retarded death scene.
Yeah. Again, just convenient plotting. Where the hell was he throughout the entire film? I thought the plot twist at one point, this is going back to me talking about how this evil entity was going to be out in the real world. I was waiting for a plot twist where Alice escapes the house, gets back to like a small town, and realizes that evil Will, dead-eyed, the entire time has been plaguing the city or plaguing the township around, and there's no escaping it now because it's just spread.
Yeah.
And all the research to fix the situation burnt out in the house. So we don't know where the book is. She might have the dagger, but whoop-de-doo. And she has no answers on how to end this thing, and that segues into the third one, which is finally this evil entity has escaped and is now, plaguing all of America. But no, this whole time he was absent for some stupid reason, just buying his time. And again, another narrative that just seems so lazily done. Like,
Yeah, it could have been cool if they did it like they knew the dagger was in this city or this town, and then they start ravaging houses trying to find it, and then eventually like, oh look, stop killing people, it's in our house, and then eventually they go to their house. So at least we got a bit more of what the trailer was showing.
Yeah, or Joe tells this information to Alice. Like, Joe and Alice are the only survivors, and because Joe's been doing the research for his book, which was such a great, convenient thing to mention, he's aware of what they want, and he's also kind of aware of where it might be. So he and Alice have to escape the house, maybe kill the father or the dog that was for some stupid reason patrolling it when they could have just entered the house at any time, whatever.
Yeah, true.
And escapes the township, or maybe to a cemetery where, like, the grandfather's body is, and dig it up. It's a race against time to get to the dagger first, so Joseph could have a chance to redeem himself a little bit more before just, being thrown around like a ragdoll for freaking 30 minutes. Yeah, I just wanted to get out of the house. I just wanted to escape. I just didn't want that same formula that we've seen in arguably 6 Evil Dead films now. Because even the second one, the previous one of this, it's the same concept. It's in an apartment building, so it suggests we're in the city, but everything happens within this apartment level. So again, it's the same formula. I want to see these things out in the real world, like in the TV series, even though it's done for comedy.
Yeah, they just don't have the budget for that, or like something.
I don't believe that. I really don't believe that, because this one was produced and supported by not only Sam Raimi but Bruce Campbell.
Okay.
Like, any studio is going to greenlit it because those two are the face of Evil Dead. So I don't believe that one bit. Like, this is Sam Raimi. He's done like the trilogy to Spider-Man, for Christ's sakes, and the previous Evil Dead. So I don't believe they can do it. We've seen a million zombie films, man. Like, this is beyond a zombie film. This is supernatural kind of stuff. So there's so many places they can take it. Yeah. But they just want to keep sticking in the house. And for me, it's just like, here we go again. So
I kind of blame the production. Is it because they only got $20 million budget? So doesn't that mean
I'd say it was by choice?
It's by choice. Okay.
I say that because they're seeing all these other horror films succeed with low budgets, so they want to try and get to that same bandwagon. And this is probably still going to make a killing. We know there's a whole generations of fans that like Evil Dead, so this will make its buck back, no matter what.
Yes.
I just wish, extend the budget a little if it means giving the audiences something new and fresh, something more that the fans especially would want to see. Not, again, another house with all this crap happening. Like, we've got the originals for that. We've got a lot of spin-offs of Evil Dead as well, and knockoffs, if you will. So, I want the third one to just be a little bit more daring and just show give these evil things what they want, which is a chance to destroy the world.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm looking forward to it.
And the positives, we kind of talked about the positives, like, there was some really cool imagery, like that scene where she's running from the house and the sky's all red, and she's running to the field. and she's black, and the whole sky's red. Man, that looked really cool. Like,
It's visually awesome. Man. It
yeah.
really is, and the trick photography. It felt like a Robert Zemeckis kind of homage when there's a sequence when Alice is struggling, I think, with the grandma up on the stairs, and the grandma throws her into the mirror, and the camera goes through the mirror, and now it becomes the reflection world. Like,
yeah, we thought that was a direct. We thought that was a direct view of the of it, but then she smashes the mirror, and that was actually just a reflection of the mirror. That was pretty cool.
Yeah,
that was really. I like
cool.
that.
Yeah, my favorite shot was with the mother. And now it's Deadite. She's got the tarp around Alice and, strangling her. And then she kind of like moonwalks backwards up the wall and onto the roof so that Alice is not only getting strangled with this tarp, but she's also hanging over the bathtub. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, like the camera shifts as they're going up the wall, the camera shifts. So like it's always looking like it's on the floor. Yeah. That was a cool scene. But then it's like, well, then they can fly, right?
I know, we see them levitate, and like you said at the beginning, she can literally telekinetically lift up fishing lines and hook people and literally turn a lake into boiling water. Like, we do see one of them touch the piping and it all goes really hot. But like, again, what did that really do in effect to the survivors? It didn't really do much. It was just like an aesthetic choice.
Honestly, one of those zombies could have just, that father could have just ran in the house, grabbed all of them, put them in a chair, locked them. They couldn't do anything. They're like ants, and he'd be like, where's the knife? And that's it.
And like, I don't recall ever these creatures need an invite to come into the house, because at one point the father with his dog just stay outside the house,
almost like don't bother coming out. I'll get you. Are you here?
Yeah, I guess, but like, what's the point of that?
Yeah, exactly.
At one point, 3 of them wreaking havoc, so they could have done that at any given time. But instead, he just lets Joe's girlfriend's version of Deadite wreak havoc for a while, and she was fun. I thought she did a good job for how short she was in it. She did it more playful, And I did like the little bit of exchange where she's like trying to convince the grandmother to let her in because they kind of locked her in the basement. And the grandmother's suffering from dementia, and she doesn't know what really hell's going on. It's like, you here to, you want my money or something like that. The Deadite's confused. Like, yeah, sure. I was hoping that would come into play, like, because they're obviously looking at the dagger, and I was kind of hoping that when they possessed grandmother, that they thought because they've possessed her, they might be able to have her memories and all that shit. But because she's suffering from dementia and all that, they actually can't find the answer to the dagger.
Right,
so it's like,
that's pretty funny. Like, why do we take over her? She's like the most pointless one to take over. We should have just left her.
Pointless, but like she might have the answers because they're seeking the dagger. Because she's a grandmother, she might have information on its whereabouts. But because of her Alzheimer's and all that, her brain's scrambled. I don't know. I thought that would have been clever, but no. That was kind of fun. Just like, the evil things not going according to their plan. In their evil scheming. I kind of like that idea, but it didn't really happen the way I was hoping it to. But that doesn't demean it. We're kind of going back into the negative areas. But,
no.
All right, 3, 2, 1. One other thing, and it's not. I only saw the one time. I think Alice literally only says 3 of the lines that is meant to resurrect or unlock this evil.
Mm-hmm.
She gets the 3 words, and before the 4th one, she says, screw this, and just walks away. And like, I don't understand how that works. Like, it's weird because we know the evil has already escaped. It's already like possessing Will and all that stuff, but like, she was halfway through speaking it, but they kind of suggested this evil is coming for her. That iconic handshaky camera shot.
Yeah, it was the dog running towards her or whatever.
Yeah, I guess it was a trick. I thought it was going to be Joe because, he just survived that incident with his father.
That
was weird. What
would have happened if she said the 4th word?
Well, in tradition with the evil, in the original Evil Dead, it literally conjures the evil to take possession with whoever like either reads
Ah,
it or
got
was
you.
within the vicinity of it. Because that camera shot where it's like comes straight for her, that's cemented in all the Evil Dead original films. And that used to scare the crap out of me when I was a kid, when I was like really young, because it's got that weird eerie wind noise back in it.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
You kind of know this thing's coming right for you because you're saying these words, you're letting it out of the bag.
A
So
bit
I guess it was
oh
kind of like
man.
a nod, but like a haha. She's not going to say the fourth line, even though evil's already escaped. So like,
That'll be a cool
okay,
opener to like the next film. If like some church sermon guy is having a massive sermon and he wants everyone to repeat words with him, and he's like, and they repeat the words with him, and they all just like fucking the whole stadium just like
that'd
turns
be
into
awesome.
that. Yeah,
That'd
that
be awesome
could.
because you got that like that cult, the circle of oh jeez, forgot the name
Circle
of it.
of Wiseman.
Thank you, the circle of Wiseman. I'd imagine is a group cult that is on opposition of the Wiseman, right? So that would be a cool opening to the next
Yeah,
one. Is
dude.
all these cult people find the book and it's like, let us pray, and they start saying the four words, and then
Imagine
they just unleash it.
how much of a banger the trailer would be. If the trailer is
Yeah,
just the
that's all you
that's all
get.
you get is that, and then once they say the four words, you kind of see a smidget of them turning, and then it finishes like Evil Dead sacrifice or whatever, dude.
Evil Dead Unleashed. Yeah, something
Unleashed.
calling along those lines.
In Will, when Will had that car crash, and then he's like looking up and he sees that freaking zombie. What do they call it? Aphrodites,
Not Deadites.
Deadites, and he's looking up,
Yeah.
and she's like, I don't know. She's like playing. She likes what's that movie that the evil likes when they freak out. It's almost like she was purposely making it look extra disgusting to freak him out. She's like
I mean,
she looks at him, is like, and then like her head rips, and you see all the like the gore and pus and crap,
the arteries and everything. Yeah, it's all so visceral.
and then the head rolls, and she's like, "How's it going?" or something like that.
That's what I love about Evil Dead, man. Like the evil, it does it for fun, but the evil plays on your like your most vulnerability and all this stuff. It taunts you with its evil violence and all this stuff. It psychs you out mentally, but they do it in a very playful way, so they can get away with it. The gore porn sort of side of it. So I'm glad they had some little aspects of it where like you can just enjoy the violence because it's done for fun. Um, I'm trying to think. Yeah, it's again another negative, but they could have done more with the dog because it's the first time we've seen a deadite dog. Like,
Yeah,
but they didn't really do anything with it. It just behaved like a regular dog that was listening to its master. So that was a bit of a letdown. I was waiting for this thing to like imagine like a supernatural dog hovering around and wreaking havoc, doing all demonic sounds and all that stuff.
yeah.
Maybe
They
it's
have
fake.
to,
It deforms them all.
and there's like a stealth scene where they kind of have to stealth around the house without the dog finding them or something like that. That would have been kind of cool.
Yeah. Or like going back to my idea of them escaping the house, getting to the town, it's the dog that's chasing after them, and it becomes this like cat and mouse thing of like them trying to get into places where it can't get them, or the high grass, the dog's in there somewhere. It's like where the hell is it? But yeah, it's all good. What we got in the long run, it was fun, it was violent, kind of brain dead. You know,
Yeah,
no real plot device, no real character arcs except for Alice's, but it kind of falls flat because, again, it's going to themes of domestic abuse and all this stuff, which I didn't give a shit for. I was just like, just kill these deadites, win the day. Enough said.
they took it safe.
You could say, ironically, for an Evil Dead film that relies on violence, they did a bit vanilla.
Okay.
That's a long stretch. No, I'm not. That's a long stretch. Like the violence is there, but narratively, it's
Yeah.
very vanilla.
Yes.
So yeah,
Um.
I'll still see the third one, but they better change it up. I don't want to see another small group of people stuck in a house, trying to fight this evil stuff that kills them off one by one. I don't want to see that
Oh,
again. I want
dude,
to see
another film like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You need to
It's
turn
like
it to like a town or something. At least townify it.
Yeah, yes, yeah. A large town with multiple characters getting multiply killed in multiply funny, original, violent ways. Just change it up a bit, please. If it's going to be the third installment of your trilogy, please change it up. That's all I ask.
And then make it where like they even some of the town folk, you don't know if they are one or not. So there's a bit of a
Yeah,
game like they're acting normal, but they're actually a zombie,
Deadites.
a deadeye.
We've seen that in the original trilogy. They
Yeah,
can change themselves to look normal at any given time and play the innocent victim of like, oh, don't you love me, Joe? Why are you pointing a gun at me? Please help me. And
yeah,
usually do that with the whole town. And like just trying to hide their evil until there's no need to hide it anymore because it's just like the majority are the Deadites. So, and then Bruce Campbell's Ash comes in and saves the day. Groovy.
So before we finish this review, what would you? So there's been 6 Evil Dead's. What would you rate the best to worst?
It's my favorite, honestly. It's kind of odd because the Evil Deads have gone through serious ones, comedy ones, and literally gore porn ones. So saying this, I really liked the rehash in 2013. For some reason, I thought it was Eli Roth that directed it for the longest time, but it wasn't. It was Alpha. What was his name again?
Alvarez.
Alvarez.
Fed Alvarez. Fade.
Cool. Fede Alvarez. There it is.
Today.
Yeah. I really enjoyed that one, man, because it took itself somewhat seriously. It did take itself seriously, actually, but also paid homage to the origin of Evil Dead. And the cast was awesome. I mean, most of the cast in all these films do great, whether they're ever funny or serious. But the main actress, I believe her name was Jane Levy, who's pretty much the main character of the film. There's like, for half of it, she actually becomes a Deadite, and for the first half of it, she's like doing this slow transition into one. And the performance in that sequence is amazing. Like, she definitely deserved like a nomination of some sort for a performance. And honestly, in the long run, the violence in that was a lot more visceral than these ones.
Okay.
Just some of like the things they do. There's a sequence with a nail gun, and you can imagine what a film such as this would do to implement a nail gun. It is very hard to watch. um, so yeah, that would be my absolute favorite, and my second favorite would be Evil Dead 2,
Okay.
starring Bruce Campbell. And it's not for the reasons you think. It is an absolute full-blown ridiculous comedy.
I think I
And
see. You showed me snippets of that. Like he's just a complete goofball, like dumb sitcom character.
Yeah, the backstory behind it is the original got released and it was immediately banned. A lot of America refused to show it in cinemas and refused to release it at video stores. And because of this, it grew this huge cult following. It
Okay.
had the reverse effect. Everybody needed to see this film because of how violent it was that it wasn't allowed to be released. It's that kind of reverse effect. And so it became the world's known re- recorded taped pirated video ever.
Ah.
So yeah, so the studios caught on to realizing, wait, this is something the fans want. And I can't remember how it goes, but basically they went to Sam Raimi, the director, and said, "Hi, Sam. Remember when we said we weren't going to allow this film to be released because it was bloody and gory and violent? Um, how would you like to make another one?"
Oh.
Studio backed. And I can't recall whose choice it was. It must have been Sam Raimi as an insult, I think, as an FU. He turned it into a full blown comedy with violence.
Okay.
And with Bruce Campbell returning at the helm as the main character, returning to the same cabin with his girlfriend, and reliving the same horror. But instead of it being blood and gore and, I guess for lack of a better word, a porn, it turns into Looney Tunes comedy.
Right, and he was kind of doing it in as kind of a fuck you to this.
I believe so. Don't quote me on it. That's
Right.
how I've interpreted it over the years, and I haven't really done my internet research. This is like reading magazines and did you knows even before the internet was a thing.
Yeah.
So, information may be different now, but that's how I interpreted it. And even though it was literally an insult to his original film, people loved it and they wanted to see a sequel. And then we got the Army of Darkness, which made Evil Dead 2 look like a masterpiece in comparison to its stupidity. Like, it goes full, like, as funny as Evil Dead 2 was, Army of Darkness is like Bugs Bunny, Looney Tune,
Oh,
silly.
a bit. So it just goes over the top. Like, yeah, just.
Oh, bro, so I don't want to, I mean, I'm probably ruin this for you, but by the end of Evil Dead 2, the Necronomicon somehow casts a spell and sends the book and Bruce Campbell back in time to the medieval ages,
Whoa.
where this crusading army are battling the Deadites. And this is kind of going to what I was hoping to kind of see in this new one is seeing like civilization fighting these Deadites. So there's literally an army of Deadites who's played by an evil king version of Bruce Campbell. and and Ash, Bruce Campbell, becomes the champion savior of like this crusading army that are trying to fight the evil. And he's got his now traditional iconic chainsaw hand with his double barrel shotgun, and he leads the heroes to victory. And there's sequences where he's fighting skeletons, doing Three Stooges comedy with them, like
Man.
boing, boing, boing. And it just went off the rails.
Did people love it when they saw it in cinemas, or they're like, "What is this? This is not what we kind of expected."
I think because of the second one, they kind of expected it. It's not as awesome as the second one, but there's still a cult following. I know for a fact Jared loves Evil Dead. I know he loves the character Ash. So, yeah, there's a group there that love it no matter what. I don't know why. It's the weirdest franchise in terms of like its genre I've ever seen.
Yeah, and
Somehow
it seems like they've got a lot of room to play around in this
Right.
film, and
And,
I hope they kind of use that.
it kind of reminds me of what they did with the Godzilla back in Japan. Like they had like two different studios. They had the Toho generation, and the other one I think was like Seisei. One of them was
Okay.
way more serious than the other. Like one was like treating Godzilla like what he's meant to be, the embodiment of like, human fault and the
Yeah.
atomic bomb. And the other studio turned him into this goofy hero that would fight other monsters. They're kind of doing the same thing with Evil Dead, whereas you've got the Ash saga, which is just, meant for fun and comedy, and then you got the other ones like this, where it's taken more seriously and more violent.
Gotcha.
Take with that as you will. Because there's a TV series that was still running called Ash vs. Evil Dead, and it's Bruce Campbell, fighting monsters episodically.
Gotcha.
It's just stupid puns and everything, man. So, yeah, it's probably the weirdest franchise ever, man. For all the wrong/right reasons. It's a weird story to tell.
Yeah, I felt like this one had a bit of a video game-ness to it. Like you could have turned this into a horror, like a escape horror video game. But then again, it was stuck in one house, so that that would be kind of be boring after a while.
I mean, didn't they do a Resident Evil game with like the same concept, but it was a big mansion?
I guess so.
That's a question.
Actually, there is a Resident Evil coming out.
Yeah, which I was surprised was because the trailer doesn't really hint at anything until like the last shot where it says Resident Evil. It kind of looks like a Silent Hill film, but yeah, take with that as you will.
Yeah,
Probably finish this on Evil Dead.
Yeah, for sure. I think we've exhausted this film as far as I'm concerned. So
yeah, I agree.
We holy crap. Hello.
You might want to edit this one.
No, that's fine. We'll just we'll end it here, I think, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for watching our 1 hour review on this film that I thought would be a 20-minute review. I ended up gone for an hour. But that's fine.
There's a lot to say for some reason.
That's kind of how these channels go, which is kind of a good thing. You just kind of wing it and see where it goes. and it's fine because like the first 30 minutes, you know, it's more directed. We know what we're saying, and then it kind of turns more into like a podcast slash whatever. Just talk about whatever. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, yeah, fair enough.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, and don't say those 4 words that will get evil upon you.
Oh, to which only 3 were spoken.
Yes,
That
so
was weird. Enough said.
all right.
I forgot to mention that.
Oh yeah, did you want to mention it real quick?
If you want to splice it in,
Yeah, I'll splice it in. Little splicer-rooney.
cool. That would be
That'd be
awesome.
badass.
I would freaking love that. That'd be what I want to see in an Evil Dead film. Finally. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
All right, and that's the video for today. Hit that subscribe button.
Sure.
Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time on the Gibbies.
Groovy.